Hello, hello. It's August 1st, 2023. It's a SIG Node weekly meeting. Welcome, everybody. Today on agenda, we have a few items. First is pod ready to start containers conditions.
Yeah, that's me.
Yes.
I ended up taking over this issue from Deep because it's I was not well, I think he made an update to a KEP in 1.28 to rename the condition, and then I took over the implementation of that and got the KEP. At least I think it was implemented. The second alpha was implemented in 1.28. I'd like to try and push for a beta 1.29. I haven't heard much from the original author, so I'm sort of going with what I saw in the comments. The one thing I saw for the beta was moving the API from a kubelet constant into an official API condition. And I have a PR up for that for 1.29, and I updated the KEP with some of those details. I'd hope that it'd be okay to take this as in 1.29. I was told to come to the meeting and see. And if there's any concerns or comments, please feel free to I guess we can post on either the enhancement or the issue, the repost.
Yeah, we haven't started 1.29 planning yet, but generally I don't see a problem with that. What I would suggest to do is to review what was approved for beta. What is the beta requirements? Every KEP has like gradation requirements for each stage. So probably you can find it here somewhere.
Yeah, they were pretty vague. I kind of updated yeah, so I sort of updated the things I saw from what was mentioned when I did the implementation for renaming the condition. And I saw that was one thing from Jordan about I think there was or maybe it was a recommendation to move it from the kubelet constant to the staging, for as if we're okay with going in beta, we want it to be a versioned API field in the condition. So that was at least the one part I saw. So if there's, I don't know who was involved other than Deep in the KEP. So if you were involved, please let me know if there was any beta items that we were aware of that I'm not.
I was involved into naming discussion for sure, but a little bit more than that. It will be interesting to, like, Deep had this very good use case when it needed to be known how long certain stages taken. So maybe if you will bring some feedback, it will be useful. Because like there are two items about feedback, right? So first is some feedback and suggestions if possible, and second is it really working? Is this field really helpful? So I don't know if you have any environment where you tried it or anybody.
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason why I want to take this KEP is I have a separate one around the conditions for stuck pending pods, and this is actually a pretty important condition for a lot of the use cases of my users. Generally, when a lot of times we have volume creation failures, and having that condition is really helpful for actually deducing failures in the pod lifecycle. And it's fairly closely related to another KEP I have, and that's kind of why I was thinking it'd be nice to promote this one, because it actually covers a lot of the major pain points. So at least that's the major pain points I've seen in our batch platform. I don't have as much of a operational aspect, but just from a user of like be able to tell like which pods are failing in the container sandbox, which also includes network CNI creation and volumes.
That's a great use case. I don't know how you can express this use case, but maybe you can have some way to share this community, and it will definitely simplify going into beta, saying this is how it's useful and this is how we used it before.
Okay, I can update that. That sounds like a good idea. I have it kind of in the separate KEP, but I'll bring it to this one also as part of this PR.
Yeah, or maybe separate blog post or whatever you seem fit. If there's any other feedback, Mike, I see you unmuted.
Well, yeah, no, I was just, if he wants to, he can ping me. I can help guide the use case a little bit. Give him some help.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Yeah, we can cover things, Kevin, like when there's timeouts and we've created the pod, even though you didn't want it to, but you didn't call it status yet. That sort of thing, right? The whole life cycle. There is actually a life cycle to run pod that Kubelet doesn't always get to see until they validate the status. I think that's the use case here.
Yeah, I understand the use case. I just thinking, can we demonstrate how it was useful in specific examples? Because the feedback may be we need more precise condition, or we need condition in a little bit different place. That's kind of feedback I'm looking for, and use case that you may demonstrate may help understand that this is actually what we want, and let's continue with this field as it's defined now.
Okay, I'll query it through our cloud account guys and see if they can't come up with a good case as well.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, if there is no more comment on this topic, let's move on. I'm sorry, I don't know who is MC KDev.
Hey folks, that's me. I'm Carter. I'm at EKS. So this PR is attempting to fix an issue that we've run into with Kubelet, in which Kubelet will update its lease object to no longer have. Sorry, getting paged. It will update its lease object to no longer have owner references after the generic garbage collector has already collected a previous lease. This happens when its node object has been deleted, which is kind of a common scenario when customers use Carpenter. So this PR essentially does not allow Kubelet to create a lease object unless it's set owner references. The change is actually in a common library that's owned by API machinery, but I wanted someone from SIG Node to, sanity check the change since the bug is happening in Kubelet. Looks like somebody reviewed this morning, but I would love someone from this side of things to take a look if possible.
Yeah, I think Antonio made a comment that this is a common library, and we want to make sure that we are not breaking any other use cases that may be useful here. But I don't see any. Like maybe okay, we will need to review.
Yeah, so it's only used in two places within the upstream code base, Kubelet and the API server, and this doesn't break the API server. I can't really imagine a scenario in which this would break someone, but that's obviously the risk involved here. There was another PR that was attempting to fix this bug that took a different approach, which I think is kind of subpar. So that author closed theirs, I think, this morning. So anyway, reviews would be appreciated.
Does anybody have an early comment on that? Okay, and have you said that you've been paged during while it was speaking?
Yeah, sorry, just yeah.
Yeah, I hope that we are not affecting EKS stability by having this meeting. Okay, let's move on. World writable termination files. I don't know who is this person, like what's the name?
So that's me. Hi, I'm Marek. So basically, I was trying to fix a bug where Kubelet creates empty files that are world writable by anyone running on the host machine. And that has been highlighted on various security audits recently. So I thought I'm going to make that my first Kubernetes contribution. And I started from just changing the file permissions to remove the 666 and changing it to 644. But that created another issue where any containers running as a non-root couldn't write. So eventually I've changed it to just inherit the ownership of the file from the security context of the specification for the pod. So that code is there, but I don't know how to move that forward. And I don't know if I need a feature gate or cap for that. So that's why I'm here.
So the issue is that it's a world writable. Is there any problems with it being world writable? Is it like somebody who can fake message?
Well, so it's not really a problem with someone faking the message. I think from security standpoint, the risk is that some malicious actor can use that file to persist their data, even if they attack some service running completely outside of Kubernetes on the same host. So generally on most security audits, if you have a file that anyone can write to, this is generally not good.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand severity of this. Is there any comments from people on the call?
So I think, are you trying to set it based on the user? So I think if you want to compute the user, it may make sense to let the runtime do it, because in many cases, we don't know the user, right? It may come from the Docker file or somewhere else.
So if I understand correctly, that cannot be done by runtime because Kubernetes is doing the bint mount before the runtime actually takes over. And this is highlighted in that in the comment just above the changes in that PR. So this is like a special case.
If I remember correctly, the user ID in the pod spec can be passed as a string, and like resolution it from the string to ID is happening like on inside the container. So if you try to expand it from host as usernames, it might be incorrect permission.
Oh, okay, fair point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, if you want to match it exactly, we may even want to defer that mount to the runtime. I'll have to refresh my memory of how this code path works. Maybe Dawn has more history.
Yeah, I agree with the Mac earlier comment. Yeah, but I haven't. I think there's some restriction, but I need to refresh my memory. On top of my mind, I couldn't think about.
Yeah, but even if we match container runtime, do we know for sure that there is no scenarios when external processes will want to write this file as a scenario? Okay.
I don't think so. But I need at least for termination message, there's no. I don't recall any. Yeah.
We may break somebody, but I think if you state that this is totally unsupported and shouldn't be used this way, we probably can go ahead with trying to find a way to match the user. So, Mark, to answer the question.
Wait a minute. Let me ask someone. I believe recently someone changed the termination message to indicate. So we have the more meaningful why a container is being evicted or preempted, or it is just because the system, right? So I think we are trying to. So in that cases, actually, the actor writing this terminology could be different.
But that would be root in this case, correct? Which means it would still be able to write.
Yeah. So let me think about that one. So I will comment on your PR. Yeah. Thanks for this.
Perfect. Thank you.
I realize there may be in the past there definitely don't, but recently there are some change. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, termination message is very powerful tool. So I hope that you can resolve it. And I want to like maybe. I mean, Mark, answering your question about whether we need a cap for that, I feel that for this kind of change that can break backward compatibility and we need to review with many people, I think we may want to do cap. I know that's a lot of overhead, on the surface, but in reality, it helps us answer all these questions with having a process to answer these questions, rather than trying to come up with some ad hoc reviewing PR. So if you want to continue that, I would appreciate if you can start the cap for that.
Okay, no, I'll try. Thank you.
Okay, going to the next item. Peter.
Hello. Yeah, so I just opened this PR last week, and I wanted to see if anyone had any feedback for it, or if it seemed like the right time. Basically, the idea is that, like, for most of the CRI changes that happen, there needs to be some amount of consensus between the Containerd and crowd communities, and so I felt like it was appropriate to, like, make official that consensus by, like, adding CRI maintainers as approvers. I'm open to discussion about the precise set of people. I talked with Mike Brown about it, and also Sasha. And so, like, I've set it as the three of us, but I'm happy to, you know, change that list or, you know, update it. Just wanted to start the conversation and see what folks think.
I can comment about timing, and so we had this issue when we did an annual review. We discussed that we need to review OWNET files, but we decided to defer it for later, so we created this issue. So I cross-referenced it with this cap, with this PR. Definitely a good timing because we just ended 128. We have more people available to review things and think about OWNET files.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, we've talked about breaking things down, right? And this seems like a step in the right direction.
Another thing I wanted to mention, when I was looking at OWNET files, I noticed that we have this SIG Node API reviewer approvers. This group was, I thought that this group has this purpose. I thought that API here is a CRI API, and this list can be extended with more people if needed. Right now, this list has SIG Node approvers, and it also have, I think, people like Tim, Hawken, and somebody else, I don't remember. So it's extended to all the API approvers, like more global API approvers, but we can reuse this list for CRI approvers in different sense. Don, do you remember the history of this list?
Sorry, I don't know what's the history about that one. You are talking about the API in general approval. Then we have the SIG Node API approval. It's just we need because we have this API approval initially because that impact execute, right? So, but a lot of API, like if you really think about the pod API and Node API, actually a lot of involve of the SIG Node. So that's why from beginning, we are insist to have Node people, but not the entire of the Node approver. Like for example, initially include me, actually later I don't have bandwidth, so I said remove me from that one. So if I remember, that's the correct. So we do want to, from the Node perspective, to provide API feedback. That's kind of the we have. I believe Derek also there initially, and Derek and me, and I remove first myself, and Derek remove later. So we try to just focus on Node integration, Node perspective to provide. So we start from there, and then I believe some other big SIG also have their own representatives there. Like for example, storage and network also have some of those representatives there. That's the background you ask for. So yeah. Okay.
Well, I feel that now this list is used differently. So now this list is used specifically for CRI API, and the list of people there is quite short.
Okay. Oh, this one I don't know. So this one I believe before it is Manu, you supposed to be here, And the Nanta also is here. So yeah, so for the CRI API related stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely update my PR to use that list instead. For some reason, I assumed that it would also include like the kubelet configuration API pieces and stuff. But if it's just CRI, then I can just update it that way.
Yeah, the name is very confusing. Maybe you can even change the name as part of this guy.
Yeah, I can do that as well.
Okay, I feel that we have consensus that we want to move forward with this PR, and we need more cleanups. I know that in CRI tools recently we had another promotion to approver. So every area trying to make adjustments. So we need to probably define more areas. And in this issue, Paco also suggested more areas to split. We need to be careful though to not split code into too small of a pieces. It's a real nightmare to maintain all these owner files. There is no good tooling for that. Okay, any more comments on that? If not, then let's move on to the next topic. Sunny, maybe it's Sunny?
It's not.
Not
Hello. Yeah. Sorry. Hello. It's Sunat. Yeah, I'm new here actually. Yeah. I wanted to give a feedback on the PR that's changing that, not setting the CPU quota for guaranteed pods. So what we have done is like we did like a patch on top of the latest minor release, and then we tested on our environment, and it is so when we were using this guaranteed pod application, and basically the pod failed to start in because of the huge pages issue. So it's unable to allocate the huge pages. So then we did like the normal release without the patch, and then it's working there. So yeah, I wanted to just update the situation here, and then wanted to bring more attention to this PR. Then we also like would love to push this one and then help this with this. Yeah, basically that's it. And like I have a question, like is how what can the timeline can be for this PR? I know it's set long term, but yeah, if possible, if you could give some timeline. Thank you.
Welcome and thank you for being here. Answering timeline question, right now we are on a test freeze for 128, and I didn't find any evidence that this is a very critical issue, and it's not a regression. So we probably wouldn't fix it wouldn't backport it to 128 and below. So the earliest it can be out is 129. Second question is whether you want to disable the CPU CFS quota. From a description, it sounds very logical. Is there any comments? Maybe I'm missing something.
I think we discussed it maybe a couple of months ago or something. So just needs review, and so that I think the issue that you raised needs to be addressed, right? I know Francesco was actively reviewing it. I'll book him to take a look again.
Manu, can you, I forgot, because this kind of problem come a couple years ago, but I think the folks identified kernel bug. So we didn't set the quota for the guaranteed job for a while. And if I remember correctly, there are sometimes people say, oh, this is problem is fixed. And then they evolve and reset. Is that what's the reason? And but it looks like this still is not fixed. So that's so I don't understand why we said later. Because initially, actually, we do run into problem. Then we unset. There's the one release we did unset. I don't recall why we changed that unset status.
So I think, Don, if I remember correctly, there was a bug and the bug was fixed, but still there is some overhead. So this PR is trying to disable it to remove that overhead entirely. So the bug was making CFS quota work very badly, but the fix worked, but it doesn't entirely like get rid of the overhead. And in this case, the argument is when you have guaranteed pods, you don't need that overhead because the CPUs are exclusively pinned for specific pods.
Sure, got. Thanks.
Yeah.
For now, if you have a link to this bug or any other things, maybe you can
Yeah, I can link it there. So again, yeah.
And
I don't think about this PR address that problem. The bugs in the kernel. So this one is basically try to not using. So the PR is not address that problem. But I do remember people reset that bug. They have some reason, but I just couldn't remember there. So that's why this PR batch try to not to set, right? So,
yes, I think, yeah, exactly. This is not setting CFS quota, but yeah, we can link to what happened with the kernel and like.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah, because I remember that clearly. We've been back and forth a couple years ago. Yeah.
Okay, so what's the next steps? Ronald, will you link the issue and try to review it?
Yeah, we can review it and take it from there. And I think we can also dig up the fixes and see what came off it, like what the overhead is now after the fixes went in. I think 2019 probably was when it was fixed. I'll dig those links up.
Also, this bug for the people report this bug could be like the which kernel. This is why, because it's kernel. What in your production? Which kernel? And do you have that fix from kernel? The only reason I want to ask is just because this is back and forth a couple times. I want to make sure when we cite that there's the reason. I don't want to cause another regression because people also demand to cite. And then there's we do clearly know before there's the kernel bug and not fix all the scenario, but do fix largely. So I'm not sure which kernel you are using, so then we could.
Yeah. So I think, Don, I'll check with Martin, but I'm pretty sure that the kernel that we are using has those fixes. This may be a further optimization. So I think we are doing a lot of work where if we know that the CPU is used exclusively by a pod, then on the kernel side, we can set more flags or do more things to make the performance better. So this is more in that area. Yeah, but I can definitely get that.
Got it. I didn't realize this is from your production. So okay, got it. So you have the most knowledge on that one, whole stack. Okay, thanks.
Thank you for updates and then information. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Why? How?
Yeah. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah. So, yeah. Hi everyone. So this was the issue I have opened a few time ago, related to the eviction manager, where eviction manager is checking only the disk uses of the living container, and that's why the pod having the total disk space is evicted when the disk pressure is created. So this was the issue there. So I need to as I'm new to the CAD source code, so I need some help or some approach like how it can be resolved or means it can be taken. Yeah.
Okay, so are you looking for somebody to implement the fix? Yeah, we went through triage of this issue. I think that the issue that the disk was the disk calculation includes doesn't include containers that are already completed. So they still can hold some disk usage. And yeah, it may cause some eviction manager problems in the future.
At least from your the use cases you presented there, I think make sense. Align with kernel, how do they claim off the memory too? So do you want to start on a cap with the design? We know this disk management, clean up the dead image, container image actually is really bad. We did a bad job. Do you want to start an enhancement here?
So like this is I have to start a KEP for that.
Yep, that's the ask.
Okay.
You can also start from the Google Doc for the at the earlier stage before you convert it to CAP, and then share to the SIG Node community, and the people so people can review easily. Then you can convert to the CAP. Either way, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, looking forward for a write-up. It's unclear how much changes we will need, and is there any breaking changes, but hopefully it should be something local. Okay, we just reached the end of agenda. Is there any other topics for today? Okay, if there is no more topics, I want to remind everybody that please work on documentation. We're coming up for documentation freeze soon. So yeah, and release of 128 will be in 2 weeks. Brace yourself. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.